Hey guys, welcome back to the Think About It podcast. I'm Nisi. I am so excited to have a safe space to speak our truth or to find it. So come on in for however long I have you here or however long I have your ear. Now let's think about it. With your girl, Nisi. Hey everybody, welcome back, you guys. We are here. We're here. We're ready to go. You guys have a very safe weekend. Be careful, look out for others, and be safe. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Be safe. So we're just gonna go ahead, you guys, and just go ahead and jump into the topic, okay? And y'all know I keep saying topics, and I don't like when I say topics because I don't stay on topic, okay? With that being said, the conversation, I guess you can say today, is about dating in your 30s, but also being intentional on intentionally dating in your 30s, and what does that look like for me? And I feel like the reason why I was so excited to have this conversation today is because as y'all know, this is something this is my life, this is what I'm dealing with. But I also seen a podcast. I watched this podcast yesterday, I think honestly like 2 days before that, it's 2 days prior as well. I love like informative information. I don't care whether that's from a book or a podcast or radio or, you know what I'm saying, a speaker. I love intellectual conversations, okay? So long story short, I was watching Crystal Renee's new podcast that I was watching it on YouTube, and it just kind of, it came across my, my feed, basically. And I don't know why, but I felt like it was God himself, honey, that rested there because, and her topic was dating in your 40s. And it was so crazy because my first instinct was to be like, oh, well, she's in her 40s, so, maybe it's a bit different. But of course, I watched and I listened to it, and a lot of things, y'all, when I say a lot of things, if she had 10 questions, probably 7 of them or 8 of them, I'm like, my life. So when I would listen to her response to things that she's going through in her dating life in her 40s, I was like, okay, like, sis, you doing the right thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you on the right track, stay focused, you know what I'm saying? Don't mind these people, you know what I'm saying? Because this is a person that is actively and intentionally doing the work. So with that being said, and I don't know how long she has been doing her work, but I know I've been on my journey for some years now, and also aware of the steps and things that's going on in my life. So long story short, when it came down to things that she was talking about as far as dating, I was like, okay. And then when she spoke about she was like, something that she said, she was like, listen, I'm at a very intentional place and space in my life. And y'all know, if you don't know, if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. There goes your first time for the day, or here goes your first time on this pod, where you hear intentional, because I use that word a lot, okay, very much so. So it made me, it motivated me, pushed me, and also encouraged me to make this podcast today. So I think that, so for me, like I said, if you don't know, I've been single for 4 years. I've been abstinent for 3 years with a hiccup last year. And I don't want to even call it like a hippo. It was kind of like a burp, like it just, it was the weirdest thing ever. And if I do remember, y'all, I keep saying I'm gonna talk about it. The reason why I always say, like, I don't even feel like it should be counted. But of course, there was penetration, I guess. So I have to count it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why I still, bring it up. But like I said, I've been just intentional. I've been in a very intentional place and space in my life for quite some while now, quite some time now. And I think for me, maybe because Crystal is in her 40s when it comes to um, things that she's experiencing or things that she experienced in her 30s is why now like she's at a place where she's like, at this awakening spot. And for me, where fresh, brand new in my 30s, and I started my journey in my late 20s, it can be strange for people. I feel like in my age group, or generation of people, and especially for the people that's younger than me, right? So I feel like I have like people who are like, I feel like people are curious, like people who who I've been around for quite some time, and last year I said I'm single. This year I still say I'm single. I still say I'm abstinent, or I mention it. I say, well, I had a hiccup, but I'm back on my my dry slope. But my dry slope. So I think you have people that are curious of um, how, what I'm saying, like how are you abstaining for so long, and how are you single for so long? I know I'm a pretty girl, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's another reason why people are like, this the math just ain't mathing. Something is just not right, I think you have people that are just negative, and, the minute you say something, and because of things that they question about their self, or because they feel like they just can't do it, or I don't know what that is. I don't know, but I think people are also negative when it comes down to my choice of life, and then I just feel like you just got nosy behind people. You know what I'm saying? You just got people that's nosy. Like she done broke. She done got some. She done got some. Cause I know she ain't that perfect. You know what I'm saying? Or it's not about being perfect. You know what I'm saying? But people feel like I'm. You're just not that disciplined. Or like I said, I'm a very charismatic person. Exacts I talk about like this. It's a part of, I feel like, my personality to make things fun and funny. You know what I mean? So I think it's hard when I tell people that, oh, I'm this and I'm that. Where people are like, child, how long this gonna take? I felt like hell. It was family members. I'm talking close, very very close family members, and they're like, child, that girl is not no abstinent. Like, she abs to who? Abs to what? They think, I don't know what people think. Apparently, I'm just Papa Coochie on a handstand, you know what I'm saying, diced pineapple vibes. Like, I don't know what people think, but that's people's opinion. I mean, that was people's opinion, and I'm sure it's still people's opinions of my life, right? I have my mom now I think, like, and I think I'm about to just kind of fall off track just a little bit, but I've learned that when you're doing things for yourself, you're not doing it to prove to anybody else, and you shouldn't do it to prove to anybody else, right? And I think for me, I'm one of those persons where when I hear a negative opinion about myself, I feel like now, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna show you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you don't think I'm abstinent? Oh, baby, I'm gonna show you. You know what I'm saying? But not necessarily showing you. I'm showing myself, and I know that once I prove to myself that it's gonna be clear to anybody, because child, look around. You get what I'm saying? Like, who you see here? You know what I'm saying? So at some point, I feel like my family got it. I feel like my family got it. Like, okay, yeah, this girl is really single. And the thing about changing for yourself and not others, you can, when you're changing for yourself and not others, you can never make other people happy. It's impossible. You get what I'm saying? Because it's like, one minute, they're not gonna believe what you going, that you doing this thing because it's you. You know what I'm saying? Because they know this version of you, and this is just not aligning with what they know, right? And then when they realize that, okay, this version is changing, now they find I feel like people find reasons to, to just complain and to bicker and to just, make you feel like you less than, right? Or you were the problem, right? So I think, like I said, for me, when I got to the point of when my family realized, like, okay, she really abstinent, it went from that to, like, they like, okay, well, when you gonna find a man now? And I'm like, what? How you figure that? You know what I'm saying? Because you just thought I was just, You know what I'm saying? Swinging it from pole to pole, left to right. You know what I'm saying? Monkey style. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you thought of me. But now it's like, okay, when you going to get a man? Like, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, of doing anything for anyone. So with that being said, I think it's just, it's a, it's a sight to see when you see people or when you hear other people's opinions about your life. You get what I'm saying? Also, too, I think, for people who question or people that want to take that journey and want to take that step, you know, or just you don't have to be, I guess, extreme because you know nowadays that's extreme, right? To abstain yourself from sex. And FYI, when I say abstain for me is something that I went in personal for myself, right? So it's not where, you know, okay, I'm waiting for marriage or whatever. And to be quite frank with you, I don't know. Maybe I am. I don't know. But what I do know is I know what I know and I know what I feel. But I feel like abstinent is something that I went under or went into agreement with or this contract with myself, right? But that's the reason why I don't say celibate, because I feel like celibate is something that you go into contract with God, as far as your religion goes, that where that is just a part of your life, right? So I just want to clear that up, you know, for other people. But I feel like there's people that feel like, you know what, well, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have this, um, this, this, um, intimate feeling with this person or with my man, or, you know what I'm saying? You could be singing it, you just kind of, you know what I'm saying? You just kind of spinning the block a couple of times and it's just like, but I'm not feeling this feeling. To me, it just feels like sex. And that's what happened to me. I felt like a lot of, like, it got to a point where it just, sex was just sex, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? What am I doing? This is not it. And I'm a very intimate, romantic kind of girl. I'm a very my man's love, like, you gonna love it here. Trust and believe that. Like, I don't know, like, I'm what a time to be alive when you're on this side, okay? Period. Like, I'm a very I'm romantic. I'm a romantic. Definitely a romantic. So when it comes to um, my relationships, I don't I don't what's the word? Like, how can I say this? I don't flourish, if this makes sense. I don't, y'all know, if y'all get it, y'all get it. The girls that get it. If you don't, you just don't. But I don't flourish when I'm just having sex. You know what I'm saying? When I'm just like, it's just this person. You know, it's like no attraction. It's no um, love. You know what I'm saying? It's like we don't have that deep rooted feeling. So for me, when I'm doing, like, when I'm just having sex just to have sex, I'm not. It's just like, okay, what is this? You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of girl, honey. Once I didn't get up off of me, it's time to go. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, no, I got things to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really that girl. So for me, I think it got to a point, or I don't know if God allowed it to get to a point where it was just like, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not it. And when I realized that, I just was like, okay, well, if this is how I'm feeling, like, I remember just laying, you know, there one time, and, you know, with somebody that I definitely wasn't that attracted to, but I feel like he did just enough, if that makes sense. And as I was like laying there, I'm like in my head, like, why the fuck did I just do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like when I got to that point, then I know that I had to take a step back. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't enjoyable for me. It wasn't fun for me. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I'm just doing it, you know? And I don't know, I got to a point of, like I say, of it just not being enjoyable for me. And then, like I say, for me, I went down this whole, like, list of, like, okay, so I'm just adding bodies, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just adding head counts just to add head counts. You know what I'm saying? One head, two head, three. No, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, John, put your hand in the back if I can see you. Like, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, that's wild to me. Like, I'm not doing that. So when I realized, like, I was just adding body counts, you know what I'm saying? I think that was something that that I took serious, like, just adding numbers after a while. I'm just like, nah, baby, I don't know. I just can't do it, right? And as I realized when I realized that I stopped connecting my body or you know, when I meet somebody that I, um, I'm not gonna say lead, but like the way I dress, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't mind, you know, my booty, my little booty, my what do you call it? My little booty juice at the bottom of my pants, just kind of like booty juice sounds nasty, but my booty meat, you know what I'm saying, at the bottom of my pants, just kind of like hanging out, just kind of tease you, like I'm a teaser. Then I realized that I wasn't necessarily teasing, but I was using my body to kind of like, in a sense, kind of like lure a person in. You know what I'm saying? And for me, when I, again, it was this whole thing, and I go down the list of like, why did I even want to lure this person in? It's like, okay, well, this person got money, so once I, you know, I lock you in, you know what I'm saying? And once you locked in, you ain't switching up type shit, you know what I'm saying? And then when you realize that these niggas don't still switch up, you know what I'm saying? But again, you don't realize that when, first off, when you're young, right? And then when you're learning things for the first time as well. And like I said, for me, I think because my life has been so, I feel my life has been filled with trauma that it just made this like, I have such an old soul. I feel like I have such an old soul when it comes down to how um, I analyze things and, you know, how I see things. I don't know if that makes sense, right? But for me, it, you know, I know for a fact that there's, and I know that there's people that's well in their 30s, probably in their late, I'm sure in their late 20s as well, that's, you know, taking the same step of being abstinent as well. With that being said, I know that there's a lot of people that's not in my age group that is not doing the work that I'm doing. So I know a lot of times it can be, you know, like I said, a thing where people are being nosy, people being negative, people being curious because they're like, sis, what is this? What is this and why is this? Okay. What made me start what made me start to intentionally date? Before I answer that question, I think so I'm not dating. Okay, let's clear this up. And I think a lot of times too, when I tell a person like, oh, I'm single or whatever, they just feel. I think people feel like, oh yeah, you can't get no play. You ain't getting no action, Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, sis, chill, cause you know what I'm saying. Okay, sleeping beauty, go back to bed. Okay, cause you crazy. Um, I think so. For me, honestly, I'm not dating, okay? Let's clear it up. I'm not dating. I'm not putting myself in rooms or in situations to possibly find that person. I've been so focused on me, and we're going to get into that when I speak about the conversation, but I've been so focused on me that I had no time. I had no room to even talk about trying to date somebody. You get what I'm saying? I think, you know, we rush so quick into relationships, and you know, we're so quick to, and I get it because, you know, we're humans, and I feel like love is just a part of our life, you know, a part of our nature and what it is that we want, right? But I think a lot of times we give out the worst love when you don't know how to love the right way. And I realized that for me, I was not loving the right way. I realized that, of course, I wasn't accepting the right love, but I was also not loving the right way. So for me, instead of me kind of looking at what everybody else is doing with the problems that they were having, I also looked at, and of course I looked at that, but I also looked at why I accepted those problems, or you know, why was situations the way it was, right? And then for me, like I said, it ultimately just drove me right back into that lane of myself. So like I said, I got to the point, I've been at a point, like I said, of just intentionally clearing up things that I didn't see as a problem. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that I wasn't necessarily a good communicator. That my anger was a part of my problem. That I have abandonment issues. That my first instinct is to see a convenient part of what a person can do for me in a relationship, right? So I have foggy glasses as well, right? I have to clean those glasses up as well, honey, okay? And one splash of Windex is not gonna do it. Okay, it's gonna take some time to get that glasses clean. Okay, and I think for me, once I realized when I got to the point of actually doing the work, and then I seen it start to play out um, outward into my life, then I'm like, oh, okay, I like that, right? Just with people, and I think before we start to, sometimes we have to step back on the relationship, the intimate relationship and focus on the platonic relationships, right? Focus on your everyday relationships and how, you deal with people and how people deal with you, right? And I think for me, I've just been focused honestly on first of how I'm dealing with myself and how I'm dealing with my household, and then how am I carrying that outwards, right? Um, let's take that down. So the first one I said would be number two. The last thing I said would be number three. The first thing I would say is to know what God wants for me in every season of my life. I think that was important. I think the first thing was I got to the point of realizing that um, I've been absent from God, and I knew that the only way to get me to a point where I'm being able to clear up this unhealthy version of myself is with God, right? And that's where, like I said, with God comes the books, and it comes the podcasts, and it comes the, the motivational speakers, and it comes like all these things. But ultimately, my very first thing was God. You know what I mean? How do I allow Him to lead? How do I allow Him to be in the driver's side and put myself in the passenger side? So once I allowed myself to do that, and I allowed myself to just be at a place of clear silence, right? And again, we're going to get into this question I just asked, but I also felt like God put me in a place where I was needed, not necessarily where I wanted to be, because I say this so many times, I didn't necessarily want it to be abstinent. Like, I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I knew what I felt, but it wasn't like, it was, the decision that I made was like 1, 2, 3, boom. It's like when you know 1 + 1 is, when you say, if somebody say 1 + 1 is what, you gonna say what? You gonna say 2. And I felt like when I got what I got, it was just like a matter of it was like a snap of a finger, like, okay, boom, 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 yeah, cut it off, right? But at the same point in time, I know that it was clearly coming from somebody higher than me, okay? And that's the big G-O-D, okay? And like I said, when I got to that point of realizing that, um, that I had so much shit to clear up, I had a choice. I could have walked in and go into other relationships, you get what I'm saying, dating the same type of people, doing the same type of thing, you get what I'm saying, and then we wouldn't have been here. We wouldn't have been here, because why? For what? You get what I'm saying? What for what? I would have never gotten the breakthrough that I got if I did not do the work. Okay? And again, when you continuously do it, it's like a what do you call it? It's like a oh my God, I hate when I can't find a word, but it's like when you do something over and over and over and over and over again, it becomes a habit, right? And I think for me, when I got to the point of doing certain things, and I seen the result from it. Okay, if I do this, then I do that, and then I started to see it. I'm like, okay, I like this, right? And again, I'm a type of, and I feel like God follows you when you are, God not follows you, but God gives you what you need when you're looking for it. Okay, and I think I've just been in a place of looking. I've just been looking, right? And I know for a fun fact, honey, I'm lying. I'm looking for a man, not necessarily like looking, but I'm putting myself out there, so I know when the time comes, it's just period. Okay, so like I said, what made me what made me start to intentionally date was like I said, after I cleared up all the things, right? And still is clearing up things where I realized that, okay, I know how to communicate now. You know what I'm saying? I know how to communicate. I know how to pour life into my man. I know how to affirm my man. I know how to cater to my man. I know that I love catering to my man. I know that I'm a nurturer. I'm naturally a nurturer, and I take pride in that. I love to have a good time with my man. I love to Let me tell y'all something, honey. If y'all don't know about cancer, y'all better do y'all research. That's all I'm gonna say. Because if y'all think cancer, if y'all think we just missionary land of that type of girls, y'all dumb. You're crazy. Who? Not me. But you know, I realized a lot of things about myself, right? So when I realized that, I'm like, okay, I like that. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I want to be with somebody that I'm able to give these things to. Okay? So that's a part of that's a part of, you know, me having to intentionally date, right? Because again, I love to communicate. I love intellectual conversation, something that Crystal Renee said, and she was like, if you can get me here, you can get me there. And when I tell you that, it's a fun, F-U-N, fact, okay? Very fun fact. If you can get me here, say less, baby. Less is best, okay? Because, but yeah, I think, like I said, for me to now not go into relationships or go into dating intentionally dating, then that means that I am attracting, or you know, I'm going to wind up in the same relationships that I had prior. You get what I'm saying? And you don't do work to wind up in the same place that you was in. That's just backwards, poo. Okay? And like I say, when you got somebody above that's leading you, that's the one thing he ain't gonna take you, honey, is backwards. He's not going to give you work, okay, for you to go back in the same spot. You understand me? And by the end of the day, if you choose to go back into that spot, you can't blame him. Okay? Don't blame him. Blame you. That was you. Because he gave you, he showed you, okay, look, this is what it is over here. Okay? And he said look left. Okay? And you chose to look right again. Okay? And that's what you did. So don't blame him for that. Period. So that's the reason why, you guys, I intentionally that's the reason why I intentionally date, as I'm going to intentionally date. And then, like I said too, something I didn't say was, I realized back then that I was also the problem. I think, you know, as far as, like I said, as far as, you know, me not communicating, you know what I mean, there was things about myself that, you know, I was so broken, right? And I didn't understand why, right? And I carried those. Literally, I carried all of my childhood stuff into my teenage mother stuff, into my physical abusive relationships, into, you get what I'm saying? So I took trauma to trauma, from trauma to trauma to trauma to trauma to trauma. It just kept going, right? So when I realized that, I'm like, oh, whoa, back it up, okay? You have so much work to do, right? And I think for me, I don't know why, I think I'm just that person that likes, I like seeing things come from nothing to something. And what's better way than to do it on myself, right? I know for a fun fact that I'm not where I want to be, but what I do know is I'm not where I was, okay? And I think it's also super important too to know that when when you begin intentionally dating, for me, I'm not looking for, you know, the perfect person. I'm not looking for the person that has everything together and, you know, nothing's wrong with their life. Quite frankly, if I meet somebody that, you know, says that, oh, no, I'm good, you know what I'm saying? Like, I did this and I did this for that person, I did that for that person, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can tell me everything that your ex-girlfriend did, right? Or your ex-wife did, right? Or your mother did to you, or somebody did to you, but you have no feedback on what you did. You get what I'm saying? You don't even know what you did. You don't see what you did. And I think, again, for me, those are things when it comes down to, again, being intentional on dating, that I am not going to put myself back in the room with that person again. Because it's like, okay, well, you have a problem admitting your wrongs, right? You don't see your wrongs, right? And it can stem from a lot of things, but maybe because that's something I'm also learning, is to not feed people with the same spoon that I fed another person, right? So not because this person did this means that this person is going to do the same thing. So I don't know if that illustration made sense, but whatever. So when it comes down to, you know, for me, like a person who cannot accept their wrongs or to see their wrong. For me, it naturally goes back to narcissism and things that I went through in my life, right? And again, it doesn't mean that it's that it don't have to be that. It can be a situation where, that person does not see it in that way, and maybe, they need a little bit of understanding and encouragement to get there, right? With that being said, again, that's a part of just putting myself out there and intentionally dating, because I'm not in a place of trying to make you get it, right? I'm not at a place of wanting you to get it. It's just one of those things where it's like you either have that in you, you either can see your wrongs, you either hold remorse, you're either emotionally available, you're either a communicator, you're either a child of God, a man of God, or we just not doing nothing. You get what I'm saying? I think that's just what it is. So said, so done. I'm not doing it, right? But like I said, it's also, and like I said, for me, well, we're getting to that, but as far as like communicating goes and in a healthy way and a dialogue, it will be new for me in my relationship because I've never done it before, right? So there is also things in myself that is going to be new as well for me, and it's going to be trial and error as well for me. And I don't want anybody to, look at me or my partner or my person or the person I'm dating to look at me less than because, I had a hiccup, right? Or I had a moment where I had to check myself, right? So I think, again, that's where I have to learn how to give grace, right? And to realize that, nobody's perfect, right? But at the same point in time, a person that is intentional will do the work intentionally, all right? I have another question here where it says, what do you know now about your relationships? Okay, what do you know now about the relationship that I deserve? So, okay, so what do you know now about the relationships that I deserve now? So what do I deserve now? What do I know about the relationships now that I deserve? And I feel like, okay, let's clear this up. Once, you know what I'm saying? Because for me, okay, I've learned and I know and I feel in my heart that as a single woman, I am single until I am married. Or until it's a ring on my finger, okay? And I'm not talking about a ring where you just gonna shut me up and, you know what I'm saying, then we go another 2-3 years and ain't nothing planned, ain't nothing, ain't no wedding, ain't no nothing. I ain't talking about that. Because now that's just a promise ring. And I'm gonna use that ring just to accessorize my outfits and I'm gonna go back on my dates. Know that, okay? But when it comes down to, relationships, what I do know is that I can date men without being a hoe, okay? I know that I deserve to go out there and to give my best and to give my all as far as, like who I am in the rooms that I am in. And not feel like I am, you know what I'm saying, not feel like I'm doing something wrong or, I'm being looked upon. I'm confident in knowing that what God wants for me is going to be for me. I deserve that. I know even when it comes down to platonic relationships, not just intimate relationships, that I deserve to have a good group of people around me in my life intentionally, because that's the love that I give. That's the grace that I give others. I know that every relationship is not going to be, want to be treated the same. I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware that, probably the things that I want from my relationship, maybe my man don't, you know what I'm saying? So, but there's, as a woman, the woman that I'm up for the game, you know what I'm saying? I'm up for the challenge, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, what is it that you want? You tell me, And if it works for me, you know what I'm saying, or if I'm willing to do it, I am going to do that. You get what I'm saying? Same thing in my friendships. Same thing in my friendships. I deserve to have healthy friendships. I deserve to have friends that, you know, care for me and love me down, and they goofy and they support me just how I support them. You know what I'm saying? I deserve to have friends that don't talk shit behind your back. You know what I'm saying? I deserve to have a man to bring me, you know, have a man bring me flowers. Not just once every year, or when you mad, or when we pissed off at each other. You know what I'm saying? Or when I mention it. You get what I'm saying? I deserve a man that's attentive. You know, I deserve a man that knows how to communicate. I deserve a man that knows how to go to God. Hello, somebody. I deserve a man that knows how to go to the big God. Okay? And for me, like I said, I'm just at a place in my life where I don't, of course, you know what, because I was going to say I can't say that, but I can speak that. I'm going to speak that my man is going to look at me, and it might not be the words verbatimly, but he's going to say, God sent you to me, or God sent me to you. I like that even better. Hello, somebody. Okay, I want to know. I deserve to have a man of God. I do. Okay, I do. And y'all be sleep. I think people really be sleep when, you know, you have a relationship with God, right? And you don't play about him, and you know, whether you're Christian, whatever that may be. And I think people feel like, oh, you born child. Let me tell you something. It ain't nothing more glitter than being, than being under the umbrella of God, honey. Okay, and you tasting all the grace of him. Okay, and you still being your goofy, still being your funny, still being your intentional stuff. Come on, man, you crazy. You're crazy. Okay, I tell you one thing. I don't want nothing else. That's what I do know. Fun fact. Okay, what do you deserve? All right, so this question here is, what are things that you want or accept in your 30s? And I'm not just going to make this a romantic relationship, but I'm just going to generalize it. Things that I expect in my 30s are intentionalism. I can't say it enough. Intentionalism. It be intentional with me. I am a very intentional woman. I just want to repeat, I guess, what Crystal Renee said, and I said this before as well, that I am in a very, very intentional place and space in my life. It's things as well that I'm still trying to process as well in my life. So I get it. I don't expect a person to have it all figured out. That's not what I want, okay? I just want somebody that is that's doing the work no matter what. You get what I'm saying? No matter what. That is showing up for themselves no matter what. Things that I want and I accept and I expect in my 30s is clear communication, people that knows how to communicate, and stand on what they communicated. Okay, this is what you said, this is what you said, and if you didn't say it, then say, well, you know what? Well, if this is what you said, and for whatever the reason was, there was what's the word? There was a mix-up in the message. Stand on that. I want a person, or I expect people, just people, period, to be able to say what they mean and mean what they say. Like, if this is what you said, don't say it if you don't mean it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't say it if you just saying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not doing it for me. Please, don't please me. I think I say this, like, a lot. Like, don't do nothing to please me. Please don't please me. Please yourself, right? And in that, if you're doing something for yourself that is commendable or looked upon, then I'm happy. Okay, what are things that I expect in my 30s? Things that I expect in my 30s are healthy friendships. Healthy friendships is something that I expect. I'm not talking like one side of the street relationships, and you know what I'm saying. I don't what I expect friends that are believers in God. Hello. I expect friends that are believers in God, and we gonna talk about them in the same way we get on the phone and we conversate about our relationships and this person that pissed me off and this bald head girl at my job and did this and did that. Let's be able to get on the phone and talk about God too. You get what I'm saying? Let's be able to. I want friends that that's not gonna pull me down the tunnel hole. Like, girl, yeah, when you go back to work, you should beat her ass because yeah, she ain't. You know what I'm saying? Throw grease on her. Like, no. I want somebody that's gonna be like, friend, just take a step back. You know what I'm saying? And if you're able to read some Bible scriptures, girl, that's even better, honey, because that's the part I'm working on. I want to be able to actually, I think that's the place in my life where I just want scriptures to know. So when certain things happen in my life, I can just be like, child, everybody know John 3:16, but pull a John 3:16. So if God said this, I can just process it in the moment. You get what I'm saying? And just get what I need in the moment and walk away from it. Okay? Or do whatever that needs to be done in the moment. Okay? Because that is my hardest thing right now. Not gonna lie to y'all. Okay? Another thing that I expect, as far as my platonic or my romantic relationship goes, if I touch this light again, in my romantic relationship goes, something that I expect is y'all, intentionalism. Like, I was trying to be all like suave and try to find a different word, honey. Intentionalism, period. Be intentional with me. Be intentional with everything that you do. Be intentional on, first off, be intentional with yourself, right? Be intentional with yourself, right? So it's because when you're intentional with yourself, there's things that you just, first off, be intentional with God. Hello. Be intentional with God, because first off, when you're intentional with God, there's just certain things that you just not gonna do. You can't do because this is who you intentional with, right? And then when you're intentional with God, you're gonna then you're gonna be intentional with yourself. Then when you learn to be intentional with yourself, then you learn how to be intentional with others. Then when you learn how to be intentional with others, you learn how to be intentional with life. Okay? So I think intentionalism is just that thing that I expect. I expect my man to be intentional. Okay? So when you talk to me, you're intentional. Okay? When you hold me, you are intentional. Okay? When you speak to me, right? And when I say speak to me, I'm talking like, if it's a situation, I've learned that I think in my relationship, because I've been also, and I've also did the verbal abuse as well, that I think I find rooms or ways to be offended. But I also feel like that when certain things are compensated or trans me in a way where it seems too tough or whatever. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like when I'm being spoke at, like when you're speaking at me and not speaking to me. I think that I know that my person is you have to be able to I also know that it's easy for me to be offended. So that's something that I'm also working on, where this person didn't even mean it that way, right? So me having to analyze and take a step back, this person, who this person core values were or is prior to what this person has just said, and what was I looking for? You get what I'm saying? T or Nisi, is this something that actually bothers you and triggers you down below? And when he said it, you get what I'm saying? And I think that's just a thing, and that's what I feel like. I feel like for me, clear communication is something, or is having a verbal bond or a verbal interaction with somebody, that you are able to speak truly how you feel, without the person listening to it to just decipher it, or to, you know, kind of rip, kind of like take apart, take, you know, rip it to pieces and take what they want to put and do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? They're listening all the way around the board to get the message. You get what I'm saying? To get to a resolution by the end of the conversation. You get what I'm saying? And not a defense mode or offense mode, right? So I think that is something that that is also important for me, and I'm also very aware of. I know that there's things as well that I call, I guess, high triggers for me, where I'm like, okay, T, you need to focus on that, like my anger. I feel like the biggest thing, and I would be so displeased in myself if I still show up in relationships like I did before I knew what I knew. You know what I mean? People are going to be who they are, right? Do I expect a person to? Yes, but you know, does it bother me, or should it bother me if a person does not show up the way that they do? Not necessarily, but it would bother me if I don't show up the way I know to show up, and the way I want to show up, and the way I choose to show up. And I think it's just something about, I don't know, I'll just speak about it right quick. R.I.P. to Jacqueline Smith, DC Young Fly's baby mother and old lady for years upon years, honey. And as y'all know, I said this before, but I watch a lot of Know For Sure podcasts. And prior to the Know For Sure, I actually watched B. Simone's entire journey. So I watched, like, you know, Megan Brooks, and when she, when B had went to her graduation, and when she started out with the Wild 'N Out cast, and she was doing her interviews. I've watched a lot of her stories. So I you know, I had a chance of seeing like little videos and little clips of Jacqueline Smith, and she was actually on one of their podcasts with their group of friends, and listening to everybody message about her, where everybody was like, you know, she's just one of the, well, actually in the when they was doing the podcast, somebody was like, use us. Like, you know, I don't know if we have anything bad to say about you, except for maybe you should use us more, because you know, you do so much for other people. But, you know, you're a great mother. Like, these are the things that people said to her prior to her death. And to know that these are the things that people still see and people remember, is that one thing, I think, for me, that it definitely laid like dormant, like after her passing, was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care as much as people feel like, okay, well, you dead. No, it's just something that I think that's maybe the work that I don't know, I feel like that's maybe why I'm doing the work, because it's beyond what I'm living. It's beyond my living experiences, right? I want to be able to impact people's life and help people with messages and the way I left them. I think that is so important to me. And if I'm not able to give that, and I show up in a way that devalues the person that I know that I am, and I know that I'm working towards, and I know that, you know, this is ultimately, I feel like, what God wants for myself as well. I would definitely beat myself up a little bit about it, a lot of it about it. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, that's just true facts. With that being said, I know now that in certain situations, I don't think that you should learn, or have this sense of new understanding of yourself, and then you continue the same relationships. That's just backwards. Okay, so now I think I know that it's easier, and I've always been a person just be like, okay, deuces, you know what I'm saying? But now I can give like a little more explanation, and without being so mean as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, a nigga F you, like, no, I can, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, as far as our communication goes, we're just not a match, you know what I'm saying? And truly, I wish you the best. Or, listen, your dick is small, and respectfully, that's a part of, oh yeah, I think, okay, I'm not going to say it in that way or form, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, but all I know is I'm working on myself, and I'm working on my communication and my anger and how I deal with things, to get the best results. I know what I know, and what I know is when I do it the way I used to do it, I know the results from it. I don't like it, you know what I'm saying? And if I don't like it, I'm going to change it, period. Okay, so that's the topic, y'all. If y'all are on a journey, if y'all are thinking about going on a journey, on a journey of abstinence or self-love, like I said, you don't have to, be that extreme of what I'm doing. Like I said, I think this is just something that I'm also, I'm in contract, honestly, with God. And just a little quick sidebar, I feel like I know, and this is before, I don't even, listen, my grandmother, like I told you, I grew up in a religious background. I grew up hearing and listening to quotes, and I don't know, maybe a quote kind of like resonated with me. I don't know. But what I do know is when I made that point of being abstinent, it's actually, I feel like it's a form of fasting, giving up something, that you do on your everyday basis, right? And the way I've been able to hear God, the way I've been able to, the way he moved in my life, I know for a fact that that man real. Like, listen, I always knew it, but once I started to be disciplined and I started now to, I think a lot of times too, we just look at God as what God's supposed to do for us. He gonna bring this now. He gonna do this for us. He gonna put this in this. He gonna, you know what I'm saying? And then when it doesn't happen in the way that it's supposed to, or we think it's gonna happen, then the next thing we say is, oh, God said, okay, he did this, or, you know what I'm saying? Then we have this resentment with God, but in all actuality, you got to have that resentment with yourself, because God is not a bank. He ain't no ATM, okay? He is not an ATM, okay? There's things that you have to do as well, in alignment with God, to retrieve and to receive what it is that he has and wants for you. And like I said, I know, child, I am not nowhere remotely close to where I want to be and what I feel like what God has for me. But I know that I ain't where I was either. And I know that God with me, and I know that he's talking to me, and I know that he's the one that got me on this old, I ain't gonna call it a crazy run, but he got me on this wild goose chase, honey, okay? But I know, honey, eventually I'm gonna get the goose. Theory, okay? So we have a new segment, y'all, and this segment is called, well, first of all, that's the end of this conversation, all right? I love that conversation. I think it was such a topic that I truly wanted to have. I just didn't know if, I feel like in my mind, I'm already like, people might think I'm doing too much, you know what I'm saying? Because especially with today's society, everybody is like in relationships. When you know that this person that did that, this person that did that, it's okay now. We made it acceptable to, be with a person that done cheated on you 10,000 times. And you know what I'm saying? It's if you're in a relationship, that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? This person is beating your ass, but your friends gonna accept that before they accept you being single, because of things that they are dealing with, right? And it what's that word? It wakes up, or it bothers their spirit. That's what I feel like. But that's a whole different conversation for a different day. But the new segment, you guys, are what am I done thinking about? And what am I thinking about? So what am I done thinking about, and what am I thinking about? So basically, what I ain't got time for it is beyond me. You know what I'm saying? This ain't just get somebody else to do it. I don't like it. I ain't doing it no more. Get somebody else to do it. I ain't thinking about it no more. Period. So what am I not thinking about? And then the what am I thinking about is kind of like what's been on my mind, what I've been into, what I got going on, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So what am I not thinking about, y'all? What I'm not thinking about is that I'm not capable of love, of, that romance that I know that I can have, that I'm not able or capable of being married to the man of my dreams, that I'm not capable of achieving everything that I have on my negotiable and my non-negotiable, that I'm not capable because there's things that I'm still lacking And I feel like because I'm lacking it, I'm not gonna say like God is he's not taking it away from me, but I'm done with feeling like, oh, because I'm not doing this, that God isn't gonna provide. That's not how that works. God is always gonna provide. Um, he's always going to provide. That's what he promised. That's just what it is. What I'm done thinking about is I am done thinking about you bitches that's mad at me because I chose to stay single and wait for my man and not have Tom, Dick, Harry, John, Peter, and Thomas all up and through here. Okay? I'm done thinking about y'all. Okay? I'm done allowing y'all to make me feel like, oh, but I ain't even gonna say it. I'm gonna mind my business. But you know, period. And what am I thinking? What am I thinking about? I am thinking about continuing to do the work in every areas of my life. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about continuously being intentional, continuously being continuously searching, continuously allowing myself to find those areas that I know that I lack and to fill those, right? Not to just use this person or to use whatever it may be. Use the truth. Just use the truth, okay? That's where I'm at. And especially for this last couple of weeks, you guys, I feel like I've just been so intentional on like I'm a very, what's that word? Orderly person. Like I'm a very productive, like I love to be productive. I love to get things done. You know what I'm saying? I love to work out. I love to, read. I love to find places in my life where it's empty and pour into it, right? So that's what I've been doing. That's what I'm going to continue to do. What else am I thinking about? What else am I thinking about? Honestly, I'm thinking about, and I think that's something I'm honestly learning, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I think I bother God sometimes where I'm just like, he just be like, girl, can you call somebody, like, call me tomorrow? You feel me? Like, I'm busy right now. Like, I'm eating I'm drinking Starbucks. Like, let me be. I feel like that's how he be sometimes. Like, girl, let me be. You know what I'm saying? Because I just be like, God, like, so my man you gonna have a bed, right? You know what I'm saying? Is he gonna be tall too? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this, like, I think about this stuff, like, a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I be thinking, think about it. I be thinking about my man. So that's what I've been thinking about. I think I should put that on the not think about, because God said it's gonna be done, but I think I'm just like kind of like having fun with it in the sense, like, like, okay, so when he do this, God, like, am I gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just be bothering him with like the most weirdest things. You feel me? What I do know is, like, you have those children, like, especially when you're a parent, right? And you have more than one kid, or even if you got that one kid that just like, oh my God, this child. That's me. I know that's gotta be like, this is a girl. This girl. That's how I feel. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. So last but not least, you guys, let's go ahead and get into the beat of the week. The beat of the week, y'all, is actually surprising this week. Is actually not an Afro beat. So it is, I think, y'all don't listen. I done told y'all I've been on Afro beat. I've been in Afro rural, Afrocentric, honey, for a while now. And honestly, I'm still there. To be honest with you, I just came up for a quick little breather, okay? And I've been listening to all my life. I know it's a little Durk, and I think it's J. Cole. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I did not pull up the information. I was driving to work one day, came on my Sirius XM, and I've heard the song a couple of times, but I actually sat there this time and I actually listened to the song. And the part where he was talking about, like when basically when somebody died, he's like, I never heard of Lil Buddy until they murdered Lil Buddy, like something like that. And I'm like, bro, period. You know what I'm saying? And then they was like, what, how about this? And he said something about, if you didn't speak about a person before they died, you can't speak about them when they got popped. You feel me? And I'm like, yeah, period. Like, seriously, because that's weird to me. That's super weird to me, okay? And especially when you coming from the streets, you know what I'm saying? Like when you really a real hood baby, you know what I'm saying? You can't do that. That goes against everything that we do in the hood, okay? You gonna talk about this nigga after this nigga and dead? You wasn't mess with this boy? That's weird. You know what I'm saying? That's really, really weird. So that's my song, All My Life. All my life, all my life. They keep me down, they try to keep me down all this time. All this time. They try to, never told her. Yeah, I love this. Yeah. So that's what I've been listening to, you guys. This conversation, y'all, was so good, so juicy. And I didn't want to bring it up, but I'm bringing it up just because the reason why you guys are probably not going to see the video that I did in the studio, y'all, it's because I've been having so much problems. I've been having so many problems with it. I'm happy that I was able to get it on audio for you all. If y'all do not know the episode I'm talking about, it was the one that it was featuring Marie. You can go on any of your podcast platforms under the Think About a Podcast with Nisi, and you will see it on the actual podcast. But you are not going to, you're not going to be able to see it on video, y'all, because I just cannot get it posted. I can't get it posted. Honestly, it was, let me tell y'all something. I love what I do. I love speaking. I love learning. But with that being said, I'm also a lady. I'm also in the place I'm being in my very much soft girl era, my soft girl life. I've always been naturally compulsive, and I like certain things a certain way. I do not want to use the word perfectionist until I actually do a little more definition of what that actually means and how that actually looks like. But I feel like I'm borderline a perfectionist because certain things are very important to me as far as like my aesthetic and things goes and how I look. So honestly, y'all, I was already not that excited about the actual video, but the fact that it wasn't able to be posted, it definitely discouraged me a lot, y'all. It discouraged me, and that's maybe, I think, probably the reason why I just wasn't as motivated to get up and do my pod. But I'm not gonna allow anything or anyone to stop me from getting and giving the grace of God, giving the message, speaking on it, talking about it, thinking about it. I'm not about to do that. Whatever, okay? It's things that happens, and by the end of the day, when tell you something, when things go left, I go left with it. But I'm gonna stop because I'm finna start going right. You know what I'm saying? Like our good auntie said, okay, Miss Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. Okay, and that's what I'm focused on, y'all. I'm really focused on trying to go high. Y'all pray for me, pray on that, because Lord knows I need it. Okay, this was such a great podcast. I love you guys so much. Don't you forget to be back here at the same time, same place, same spot, same location. So much. I love you guys so much. Don't you forget to tell a sister, cousin, brother, auntie, uncle, niece, great cousin on your daddy's side with his ugly behind. And we call him ugly because, you know what I'm saying, y'all kind of cool now, you know what I'm saying, but back in the day, you still know like half of his family, you know what I'm saying. That's the reason why when you go over there, you be doing the most, like, ugh, you know what I'm saying, because you're really not feeling with them. You're not with them like that, you know what I'm saying. I get it, girl, I get it. But don't forget to tell them that this is the Think About It podcast with your girl, Nisi Liapu.